First of all, let's have a look at the requirement to win Nigeria presidential election. Nigeria presidential election run a 2-round system. So the first round, it has to do with majority. So you need majority. Basically, you need to have more votes than everybody else. Peter Obi, does he really have what it takes to have more votes than everybody else? It's not only the majority, you also need 25% of the vote in at least 24 out of 36 states. So basically you have all these states in Nigeria, 36 states. So you need to count 24 states whereby you have 25% of the vote there. So 25% of the vote in at least 24 of the 36 states. Peter Obi, does he really have what it takes to really do that? To have 25% in at least 24 states of the 36 states. So, and when we're thinking about this, what we have to consider is the fact that if nobody meets this first threshold, it means that the Nigeria presidential election will go to the second round. Are we at the risk of having a second round election? So the second round election will then mean that the two top candidates after the first round will then be the one to then contest for the second round. Let's talk about some of the factors that might be responsible for the risk of having the second round election. So him here, he is from that area. By the way, this color coding has to do with the region, the different various regions in Nigeria. So I think there are about 6 of them. Is it? Yeah, 6 regions in Nigeria. So you have all this yellow here is this region here, northeast, and then like so, and then so it really might be tribal. So you have him from that area, you have him from that area, you have him from that area, and him from that area. By the way, these are not the only 4 candidates contesting in the Nigeria presidential election. Make no mistake about that. There are more than this, but these are the top 4. And even him really, as I said in one of my previous videos, I will put him aside because really, I don't really think that it's not really a major, it's not really going to do anything really serious. I'll put him on the side, but there's something I might talk about him later on in the video. So let's put him aside. So him is from that area, and then there. So this is just going to be really tribal because a Yoruba man, Igbo man, and Hausa Fulani man, or let's just say Fulani man. So the trouble here is that they might possibly capture their area, and each person capture their area. Then it's really going to be that nobody will really be able to meet this threshold. So if they will all just capture their area, and then, but we're talking about just 25%. So because you might really capture your whole area, or you might win all the states in your area, but you might not really have a landslide whereby you have like 100%. So him might still be able to capture maybe 25%. So, and then you're talking about their running mate as well, because they have running mates. Running mate of Peter Obi is from that area, that state there. So which means that they might be getting some votes there. And then his running mate is from somewhere down there. He might be getting some vote there as well. And then his running mate is from there. He might be getting some vote in that region. So seriously, if I have the chance to vote, I would definitely be voting for Peter Obi, even though I'm a Yoruba man and he's a Yoruba man, but I don't really care too much about whether you're Yoruba or you're Hausa or whatever. So I just care about somebody that will be able to move the nation in the right direction. But having said that, Peter Obi really have big challenges. Let's have a look at some of the challenges that Peter Obi will be facing really. So you have the voters register. These are these are in millions, by the way. So you have these top states: Lagos, Kano, Kaduna, and on and on. And this is the number of voters registers that they have, the people that register to vote in those states. So you have Lagos State, which is the biggest, and Lagos State almost like belong to this man. Some people will argue that no, that this time around it's not going to be able to dominate Lagos, but I actually disagree with that. I think it still have a stronghold on Lagos State. So you have Kano. Who is going to win Kano? Even though I push him aside, but what I actually wanted to say about him is that I think it's not, because it's almost like a regional. It's not more than Kano and Jigawa. That's where he really has influence. So it's kind of like a regional. It's not even the whole of the region really. So I think he's possibly going to succumb and just make alliance with, whether him or him. But I mean, there was one time when they were discussing to have alliance with him and him before, but it didn't really happen. So, but he's just going to join force with him to just hand over some of his supporters to them. So Kaduna, look at Kaduna here. Kaduna is the massive place as well in terms of in terms of the number of, so they are third on the list, and his running mate is from there. Is it really going to have influence? I'm not really sure, because the governor of that state is a party, is in the same party with this man, so which he possibly will be doing everything he can to hijack the place. Nigeria is almost like a criminal enterprise sometimes, the way they do the election. So he might just hijack the voters to him. But and then another school of thought is saying that he might just be pretending, even though they're in the same party, but they might be biting each other, and then he might actually be behind the scenes supporting him, because they are from the same Fulani people. So, and then you have Rivers. Rivers is down here, and this is the reason why there is a man called Wike, who is the current governor. Is the reason why everybody is trying to form alliance with him. All of them, they are trying to form alliance with the man Wike, who is here. So, and then you have Katsina currently the present president is from Katsina, so, and is from the same party as that. So is it just going to be easy that he's just going to get that state? That state is really very, and then they call them KKK actually in the north. Yeah, Katsina, Kaduna, they call these three states, they call them KKK. They pull a massive number of votes. This is the thing that I have with Peter Obi. Is he really going to get 25% in these three states? These are the core, well, maybe not Kaduna, because you have Kaduna divided into two parts. You have the southern Kaduna, which are majority kind of like a Christian, which again, religions come to play as well. He's a Christian, they both are Muslim, and he has Muslim as this vice aspirant, and then both of them, he has a Muslim, because he's a Christian, he has Muslim as aspirant. He's a Muslim, he has Christian as aspirant, who's from that place, and then but he is having Muslim as aspirant, and he's a Muslim as well. Some people are saying Muslim ticket is a problem. So can Peter Obi really pull massive number of votes from here? I'm not really sure. Maybe Southern Kaduna, but the top part there, it's going to really be very, very difficult. And then you have Delta. The vice of him is from Delta. I hope I'm not getting this wrong. Yeah, he's from Delta. He's from Okowa. He's from Delta State. What is going to be? This is going to, it's going to be a big fight between Peter Obi. Peter Obi is not just southeast. Also, a lot of the other, southern part as well has big movement for Peter Obi there. So the current the vice, is the current governor, is he really going to be able to deliver his state? I think he possibly will be able to do so for him. So, and then you have Oyo State is part of the southwest, the Yoruba people, which tribe he comes from, and then you have Benue State, Benue as well. Benue is almost like a neutral ground, but somebody can drop a comment and let me know whether I'm wrong about it. I think it's kind of like a neutral ground, really, that you're not really going to show who is going to get it. Bauchi, yeah, we're talking about North as well. By the way, this is where I had my university education. So in the northern part of Nigeria, Bauchi, I had my university education at Baka Tafawa Balewa University in Bauchi many years ago. And Anambra State, yeah, that is his home state. Peter Obi, so all of these states are the state that the top one that has the biggest voters registered in those states that I've just outlined. So now, in terms of Peter Obi's chances, it's really very difficult to be able to tell, because you're looking at places like here. These are the core north. If I take, I'll say here as well, I'll say there, there, it's here. This core north, is Peter Obi really going to be able to have 25% of voters from this state there? So if you count this, really 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12, that's about 12 states already. So if you take 12 states out of 36, you are really almost like that possibly is a problem already. So you are then thinking about let's just assume it's just assumption, really. So let's just assume that he's able to pull all of this area to have 25% there. And is he going to have 25%? Well, yeah, maybe Plateau State. Is he going to have 25% in places like like even if we take Niger State, the heart of it as well? So you're talking about almost like 13 or 14 states already, and you take that out of 36, you are already really very short of the 24 states. 24 states where you need you're short of 24 states where you need to have 25%. So this is just my opinion. It is just analysis and taking emotion out of this. And if I am to vote, if I have opportunity to vote, I will definitely be voting for Peter Obi. Seriously, I will be voting for him. But I don't really have capacity to vote, because they don't allow diasporan to vote, which I think they should be allowing diasporan to vote. I think Kenya allowed their diaspora to vote, or there might be other countries that allow their diaspora to vote, but they don't do it in Nigeria, because this is all kind of like their rigging system that they usually want to do. I am a Yoruba man. He's a Yoruba man, but I don't really care whether because the Yoruba, I think he possibly has more what it takes to become Nigeria president than him, because when we're talking about Peter Obi, we're talking about somebody that has age on his side. I know some people will be saying, oh yeah, age is not really supposed to be a problem in terms of we're talking about age is not a problem in terms of him and him. These are really old guys, really. They've been the politician for a very long time, and governor of Lagos State, and a little bit elected governor of Adamawa State, but end up to become vice president of Nigeria. And he's contested uncountable number of times, maybe 4 times, or literally every election contested. He was governor of Anambra State, but his performance, which there are still people we question, that it doesn't really matter which direction you go, what you say you have achieved, people will question that anyway. But I think in terms of age, I think age for me is the big factor, because the current president is always like going for treatment, and age is really, for me, is a really very big factor. The current president is always going for treatment, and it's just a sick man, and then he's already showing sign of sickness already. But people will say age is not really a problem. Age might not be a problem in advanced country that are already developed, like America, which people usually use as an example. Joe Biden, America is already developed. It's not really, Joe Biden is not really the one that is doing the major bulk of decisions that really that make impact in the life of Americans. America is already developed. Nigeria is not. Nigeria is a developing country. It needs somebody that is up and running. And then you're talking about somebody that show up as well. Maybe Peter Obi, maybe showing up too much. Maybe you need to have people that will be representing him sometime as well. But in terms of showing up, I think his show up is there in the media, is there talking to people. But yeah, I mean, he's done well as well to talk to the media as well. But he literally haven't show up anywhere properly. And so, which question is capacity in terms of the mental capacity and the physical capacity to be able to rule a country as big as Nigeria with all the complex situation in Nigeria. So really, I'm a Yoruba man, but seriously, I'm not really sure. And him as well is a old man, but maybe he hasn't really showed any serious health issue. And seriously, I think all of them, I think the positive thing about all of them is that they are all linked towards capitalism. So capitalism do get bad press sometimes, don't get me wrong, but capitalism, I think, is almost like the way to go to make. But I'm not talking about what they did during the privatization when he was vice president, when they almost literally allocated everything, every government property they privatized to themselves and their friends. I'm talking about if they can do it openly in the proper way. I think capitalism is really, talking about the energy sector, for example, petroleum sector is a very big issue in Nigeria, whereby you have the Nigeria Petroleum NNPP, which is not really making any profit, and then corruption everywhere, and then the fuel is not there. If the privatizers in the private sector, just like the Dangote is having its own refinery, if they have various people that have their own refinery, I think it's a better thing. And then so these three, I think they do have that thing, that capacity of that kind of like a business oriented, because they all have business oriented, unlike the current president that almost like clueless really. So they all have businesses, they know how to run business, and they can just do things in the way that they can just make the private sector work. Private sector is really very important, and just make all the services and infrastructure to be running. So, and then there are other Sowore and all of those. I don't think Sowore is really going to be able to get that much vote really. Leave a comment and let me know what you think, and hope you find this video useful. Thanks for watching, and God bless.